Hello and welcome back to English Unlimited Podcast, the place where we break down English for you. I'm your host, Charlie.
And I'm Jamie. Good to be back with all of you.
So I want to kick things off today with a question for you, our listener. And it's a question I honestly ask myself almost every day.
Oh, this sounds deep.
It is. Have you ever felt just completely stuck? You know that feeling. You have a goal, maybe it's speaking English confidently, but you just find yourself always hesitating.
Or avoiding practice.
Exactly. You avoid it. And we tell ourselves these stories, right? Oh, I'm just a procrastinator.
I'm just not one of those people who's good at languages.
Yes, that one.
Yeah.
Always fail at diets or whatever it is. It's this negative self-talk that just seems to pull you right back no matter how hard you try to push forward.
It's like an invisible rubber band snapping you back to your old self.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what you should do, but the doing part just never seems to click into place.
And that feeling, that cycle is so common. Our sources today talked about that exact thing. People try to change. They might do well for a day, maybe even a week.
Yeah.
Then boom, they snap right back to that old, comfortable, but, negative pattern.
It feels like something more than just not having enough motivation.
It is. It feels like something fundamental is just pulling you back to who you used to be.
And that, everyone, is the exact problem we are diving deep into today. We are looking at a whole bunch of material all about personal reinvention.
But not just setting goals.
No, this is way deeper. We're talking about identity shifts, the surprising power of doing things quietly, and we've got some amazing real-life stories of career changes from people over 30.
That's right. Our mission today is to really explore let's call it the science of breaking free from those old patterns. We're going to see how real change starts with who you believe you are.
Not just what you do.
Exactly. We're going to get into why your brain is basically just following your orders, whether those orders are good for you or not so good. And you have to stick around to the end.
You do.
Because we've got a little pop quiz coming up that's going to tie all of these ideas together in a really surprising way.
It's fascinating stuff, and the solution is, well, it's not what you'd expect. But before we get into all that, we need a quick favor.
Just a tiny one.
If you're enjoying this, if you're getting something out of it, please take 1 second and subscribe to the English Unlimited podcast and hit that like button right now.
That small click really does help us reach more learners like you.
It really does. Okay, you ready to get started?
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's jump into this first big idea from the sources. And this, for me, is where it all started to make sense. The material insists that reinvention, real change, it isn't just about setting a new goal, like saying, I need to finish this grammar book.
Yeah.
That's too shallow.
Right. It's about something much, much deeper. It's about reshaping who you actually believe you are.
An identity shift.
That's the key phrase. It's an identity shift. If you just define yourself by an outcome, like, my goal is to run a marathon.
Okay.
You're setting up a huge internal fight because you might train for a few weeks, but in your head, you still see yourself as a non-runner.
Right. I'm the person who sits on the couch.
Exactly. So the first time it gets hard, the first rainy day, that old identity just wins and you quit. The real change happens when you start telling yourself, I am a runner.
So the identity comes before the action. That feels like a small change in words, but is it a big deal?
It's a huge deal, a crucial one, because it completely changes your motivation. See, if you're acting based on a goal, it feels like a chore, it's heavy, it's something you have to do.
Yeah, I feel that.
But when you change your identity first, your habits they sort of follow naturally, they feel easier, because you're just acting like the person you believe you already are.
So a person who speaks English just finds ways to speak English.
A productive person just naturally starts their work. It's not a fight anymore.
Okay, but can you break down the mechanism here? Because for me, and probably for a lot of our listeners, this can sound a bit like wishful thinking, you know? Just believe it. Is there a science to this?
There is, absolutely. It's all about how our brains crave consistency. If you hold a really strong identity, let's say, you believe I'm always late.
Guilty.
Your brain gets the message, okay, mission, be late. And it's not conscious, but it tells your body to, move a little slower, to get distracted, to leave just 5 minutes too late. It's all to make sure that the outcome matches the identity.
Wow. So it's not that I'm just bad at managing time. It's that my brain is actively helping me be late to prove my own story right.
That's the core of it. And it applies perfectly to learning a language.
Yeah.
If you're always telling yourself, ooh, I'm just not fast enough at thinking in English.
Yeah, or I'm bad with new words.
Right. Your brain gets the signal. Okay, mission. Avoid speaking situations. Stick to simple words. Don't try anything new. Wait. You're telling me I've been training my brain to keep these bad habits without even knowing I was doing it. I've been giving my brain terrible orders. You have, and the sources are really clear on this. Your brain is constantly building and strengthening these little pathways, neural pathways, based on what you repeat to yourself.
So every time I say, I struggle with English,
Yeah.
you're making that struggle pathway stronger. It becomes the default, the easy road for your brain to take. But if you can shift that just a little to, I'm an improving English speaker, your brain immediately has to start looking for evidence to prove that story. It'll notice the moment you understood a new phrase or that one time you had a 5-minute conversation that went well.
This is kind of blowing my mind. It connects to a phrase that I hear all the time, especially in business, but I guess it's really psychological. It's this idea of a self-fulfilling prophecy.
I've heard it a million times, but I don't think I've ever really, gotten what it means in a practical way. Could you just break that down in plain English for us?
Absolutely. It's a fantastic phrase to really understand. So, a self-fulfilling prophecy is when something you strongly believe is going to happen actually happens.
Okay.
But, and this is the important part, it doesn't happen because of fate or magic. It happens because your belief made you act in a way that caused it to happen. Your expectation changed your behavior.
So the belief literally creates the result because it makes you do certain things.
Exactly. It's a feedback loop.
Okay, I think I get it, but could you walk me through a few different scenarios? I feel like that would really help it stick.
Of course. Let's do our example looping. So for a formal example, an economist predicts a big stock market crash. Everyone hears this prediction, panics, and immediately sells all their stocks. All that selling causes the market to crash. The prediction became a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Wow. Okay, so his prediction actually created the event.
His prediction influenced behavior, which created the event. Okay, now a casual one. Let's say a student is totally convinced they're going to fail their exam. So they think, well, what's the point in studying? They spend the night watching movies instead of revising. And of course they fail. Their belief that they would fail became a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Because it stopped them from taking the action they needed to succeed.
Precisely. Ready for a weird one?
Always.
Okay. So, I tell my friend that his new attempt at baking a cake is cursed, and it is destined to come out lopsided. He believes me. So he keeps nervously opening the oven door to check on it, letting all the heat out. The constant temperature changes make the cake bake unevenly.
And it comes out lopsided.
And the prophecy of the lopsided cake becomes self-fulfilling.
That's brilliant. It makes the point so clearly. The belief drives the action, and the action drives the result.
Okay,
Let's try a little role play.
Perfect. Go for it.
Okay, so I'm getting ready for a big meeting at work, and I say, there's just no way they're going to accept my idea. I always get shot down in these meetings.
Whoa, stop right there. If you walk into that room with that belief, how are you going to act? You'll be defensive, you won't sound confident.
Yeah, I'll probably sound apologetic even presenting it.
Right. You are creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. You need to change that script. You need to tell yourself, I am a confident professional who presents valuable ideas.
I am a confident professional. Just saying that feels different. It feels like putting on a power suit or something. It changes how I'd even walk into the room.
It changes everything. And just quickly, when we talk about this phrase, there are a few common verbs we use with it. You create a prophecy, you fulfill a prophecy, or you confirm a prophecy.
It's all about the active role we play in making it happen.
Exactly.
Okay, so if we know we're creating this story, the next practical step the sources talk about is visualization. The need to clearly and repeatedly visualize the person you want to become.
Right. And it's not enough to just say, I want to stop procrastinating. That's too vague. You have to actually picture yourself being productive. See yourself sitting down, focused.
See yourself being fluent, maybe handling a difficult conversation in English, and feeling calm.
Yes, but the key is being specific. A lot of people get this wrong. Don't just visualize the outcome, like getting an A on the test. Visualize the process.
What do you mean?
Visualize yourself sitting at your desk, feeling the urge to check your phone, and then consciously choosing not to. Visualize yourself focusing for just 15 minutes. It's called mental rehearsal.
Oh, I like that. Mental rehearsal. So you're giving your brain a practice run.
So when the real moment comes, it feels familiar, not scary and new.
Visualize the process, not just the prize.
Yeah.
That's a great takeaway. Okay, but what about the things that hold us back? The sources talked about this old story trap.
Yes. This is a big one. People hold on to these outdated stories about themselves even when they know they're not true anymore.
But why? If it's hurting you, why hold on?
Because it's familiar, it feels safe, and honestly, it gives you a good excuse.
Oh, like when I say, I just work better under pressure, which is really my excuse for putting something off until the last minute.
That is the perfect example. It's a comfortable identity.
Yeah.
Real reinvention means you have to actively decide to let go of that old story and realize it's not some permanent fact about you.
It's not my DNA.
Exactly. I mean, think of the examples. The sources mention Colonel Sanders starting KFC in his 60s after failing at so many other things. Reinvention has no age limit.
That's so true. It's not about pretending the past didn't happen, but just choosing a new story for your future. No more, well, I've just always been this way.
Absolutely. And one last thing on identity before we move on. You need to start by identifying with the smallest possible win.
Small as possible.
Yes. Don't say, I'm a best-selling author. Say, I am a person who writes one sentence every day. That identity is achievable right now, and it makes you an instant success.
Okay, so that's the identity part. Now let's get into the action. I am now an improving English speaker. Great. But how do I actually prove that to myself without getting totally overwhelmed and just snapping back to my old ways?
This is where the sources all agree on a really beautiful, counterintuitive idea.
I'm listening.
Forget the massive, life-changing overhaul.
Really?
Yes. Focus on tiny, consistent actions instead of I have to study for an hour, which your brain immediately resists.
Oh, yeah, that sounds awful.
Just commit to 5 minutes, 5 minutes of focused work, or listening to one short podcast clip. The size of the action is almost irrelevant at the start. It's the consistency that matters.
5 minutes feels doable. Even when I'm tired, I could probably manage 5 minutes.
But what about when that resistance still kicks in? The sources had a great technique for that. It's called habit stacking.
Habit stacking, what's that?
It's where you attach a new, tiny habit to an old, established one. Something you already do without thinking.
Okay, brushing my teeth.
Perfect. You already brush your teeth every morning, so you stack the new habit on top. After I brush my teeth, I will immediately review 3 English vocabulary words.
Well, that's smart. You're using the old habit as a trigger or an anchor.
Exactly. It reduces the mental energy needed to start, so the power isn't in how big the action is, it's just in showing up consistently.
Right, and that creates momentum.
Precisely. There's a classic metaphor for this. Think about water dripping on a rock. One single drop does nothing. You can't even see it. But if a tiny drop of water lands in the same spot every single day for years, it will drill a hole right through that solid rock. Small actions repeated over time build unstoppable momentum.
I love that. So that brings us back to what we say to ourselves, our inner dialogue. My brain is following my orders. So if I successfully do my 5 minutes, how do I lock in that win?
You have to celebrate it with language. The moment you finish, you need to say, either out loud or in your head, that's what a consistent learner does.
Ah, so you're connecting the action back to the identity.
Yes. This is how we actively reinforce our new identity.
Okay, that's the word. Reinforce. I saw that one everywhere in the material. When we do this, we reinforce our new identity. Can you unpack that for us? What does it really mean in plain English?
Of course. To reinforce something is a verb. It just means to make something stronger or more secure.
Like with steel in a building.
Exactly like that. But in our context, with habits or beliefs, it means to support a behavior or an idea so that it becomes more solid, more established in your mind. We're trying to reinforce the new pathway in the brain.
We're making it stronger. Okay, I need to hear it in a few different situations.
You got it. Let's loop it. 1, a formal example. The company's positive sales report helped to reinforce the manager's decision to launch the new product.
Okay, made the decision stronger.
2, a casual one. Eating a healthy meal right after I go to the gym helps to reinforce my new fitness habit.
That makes you want to keep going. Makes sense.
And 3, a funny one. I bought a tiny crown for my cat, which only served to reinforce its belief that it was the true ruler of the house.
Last. Definitely don't want to reinforce that belief.
Yeah.
But I get it. Every small action builds that mental strength.
Yeah.
Okay, let's role play it.
All right. Let's say you just finished a really tough English lesson.
I did it. I got through that whole grammar unit. It
Yeah.
was so hard, but I finished it.
Nice. That small win helps reinforce the habit of pushing through challenges. You're building mental strength and proving to yourself that you are the kind of person who finishes what they start.
I like that. It feels good.
Yeah.
So what other words go with reinforce?
Good question. We often talk about reinforce a habit, reinforce a belief. You can also positively reinforce something, which is what we're talking about.
Making a good thing stronger.
Right. And you can also negatively reinforce something, which actually makes a bad habit stronger. We also say reinforce efforts or reinforce confidence.
Got it. Okay, so I've got the action and the self-talk. But the sources were really big on something else. Your environment.
Oh, this is huge. Your surroundings either help you or they keep you stuck.
For sure. If my phone is on my desk, I am not studying, I'm scrolling. I need my environment to help the new me. So what were some of the practical ideas for setting up an English learning environment?
Your environment is often way more powerful than your willpower. The goal is to make the good choice the easy choice.
Yeah.
For example, change your phone's language setting to English. It forces these tiny little moments of immersion every time you unlock it.
Oh, that's a good one. It's a bit annoying at first, but it works.
Another one. Use sticky notes. Put new vocabulary on things you use all the time. Put a note that says mirror on your mirror, refrigerator on your fridge.
You can't escape it.
And, maybe most importantly, create a specific space for focus. This one chair, this one corner of the room, that is your English zone. Nothing else happens there. Your brain starts to associate that spot with focus.
You're setting up your space for success.
Exactly. Because if your environment is doing half the work, your willpower doesn't have to fight so hard.
So we're making progress. We're building up these small wins, but then the mental noise starts to creep back in. And probably the loudest noise of all is the comparison trap.
Yes. It's a killer of momentum.
It really is. You go online, you see someone else's perfect English, their amazing progress, and suddenly your little 5 minutes of practice feels pathetic.
It feels tiny and useless, and comparison is, like the saying goes, the thief of joy.
Yeah.
The sources really emphasize this. We loved the analogy they used.
The two people walking.
Yes, imagine two people are walking to the exact same destination. One of them is a speed walker, just flying down the path. The other one is just strolling, moving much more slowly. The slow one still gets there.
Right. It doesn't matter how fast someone else is going. The only thing that matters is that you are still moving forward on your own path.
Exactly. Stay in your own lane. Once you can do that, you unlock the next superpower, which is silence.
Okay, and the sources talked about two kinds of silence.
Right. The first kind is practical. It's stop talking about it and start doing it.
Oh, I am so guilty of this. I get a big burst of inspiration and I tell all my friends, this is it. I'm going to become fluent in 6 months.
And what happens? You get all the praise and the good feelings before you've done any of the work. Your brain gets the reward without the effort.
So it takes away the motivation to actually do the hard part.
It can, yeah. The real work is quiet. It's you alone putting in those 5 minutes when no one is watching. You're not doing it for likes on social media. You're doing it to prove your new identity to yourself.
That's the first silence. Silencing the need for outside approval. What's the second kind?
The second silence is about protecting your focus from all the distractions, the constant noise of the modern world. Every notification, every email, every bit of social media drama.
It's a battle for our attention. And we lie to ourselves, right?
Yeah.
I'll just check my messages for 1 minute.
And an hour later, you've gone down a rabbit hole, you feel drained, and you haven't done what you planned to do. You were busy, but you weren't productive.
So what's the strategy? How do we protect that silence?
The most effective strategy is called time blocking.
Okay.
You set a specific, sacred, uninterrupted block of time. Maybe it's 1 hour, maybe it's just 25 minutes for one single task. During that time, the phone is in another room, notifications are off, it's an appointment with yourself.
And breaks are a reward after the work, not a distraction during it.
You've got it. It's how you go from feeling scattered and reactive to feeling focused and in control.
That's the external noise. But
Yep.
what about the internal noise, that little voice in your head that criticizes you when you make a mistake?
The inner critic. The sources had a really profound idea for this from the writer Charlemagne the God. It's about giving yourself grace. He asked this powerful question. Why are you punishing yourself now for things you didn't know back then?
Wow. Say that again.
Why punish yourself now for things you didn't know back then?
That hits hard. We beat ourselves up for past mistakes, for procrastinating last year, as if our past self should have had the wisdom we have today.
But they didn't. That past version of you was doing the best they could with the knowledge and tools they had at the time.
I think that's so important for language learners. Why am I angry at myself for being scared to speak English 2 years ago? I was a beginner. I was figuring things out.
Exactly. Forgiving that past self is what allows you to move forward without being chained to that old identity. And it also helps you filter out the noise from social media.
The perfect lives.
The perfect lives. You're seeing the highlight reel, not the messy reality behind the scenes. Your own small, real, quiet wins are what actually matter.
Right. And when you finally quiet all that noise, the external distractions and the internal criticism,
That's when it
you
happens.
start to hear your own true voice.
Yes. You finally figure out what you actually want, not what you think you should want. There was a story in the sources about a teacher who worked for years to get her dream job in a big, busy city school. And when she got it, she realized the constant noise and energy was completely draining her. It wasn't her dream at all. She had to listen to herself and realize she needed a quiet environment to be happy.
So she had to let go of the dream she thought she wanted.
She had to relinquish the idea of what she thought a successful teacher was supposed to look like.
Okay, that's a big word. Relinquish. It sounds very formal and serious. The source says we need to relinquish control. What does that mean exactly?
It is a strong formal verb. In plain English, to relinquish something means to voluntarily or willingly give up or let go of something important, like power or control or a position.
So it's not just giving it away, it's a conscious choice.
It is. It's often done because it's necessary for growth or for a bigger purpose.
Okay, I need to hear that in a few different ways. Can we do the loop?
Let's do it. 1. Formal. After the scandal, the company's CEO had to relinquish his position on the board.
You had to give it up. Okay.
2. Casual. I finally had to relinquish control of the playlist at the party because my friends have much better taste in music than I do.
Last.
A wise decision. And 3, a weird one. The squirrel refused to relinquish the giant peanut it had found, even though it was too big to fit in its mouth.
It wouldn't let go. Okay, that makes sense. It's an intentional letting go. Let's try the skit.
Okay, so you're managing a big team project, and you are trying to control every single tiny detail.
I have to check every email. I need to approve every decision. If I don't control everything, the whole project will fall apart.
Okay, take a breath. You're going to burn yourself out. You need to trust your team. You have to learn to relinquish some of that responsibility.
That word just adds so much weight to it. I'm not just giving up a task. I'm letting go of my need to control it.
That's the power of the word. And we often use it with words like control, power, a title, or a position. It's the language of a purposeful surrender.
Okay, so let's bring all these ideas into the real world. The sources were full of these amazing stories of people who made huge career changes, often after turning 30.
Yeah, these midlife pivots are becoming more and more common. We saw stories from people who were, financial crimes investigators, high-end chefs, aircraft mechanics.
Lawyers, people with really established high-status careers.
All deciding to just switch tracks completely. Moving into things like software development, cybersecurity, or even creative fields like becoming a therapist or making custom furniture.
What was the main reason? Because changing careers at that age, especially a stable one, sounds terrifying.
It is terrifying, but the motivation was almost never about the money. In fact, many of them were leaving jobs paying over $100,000 a year.
Wow.
For entry-level positions starting at maybe $40,000 or $50,000. They were running away from things like extreme burnout or jobs they called soul-sucking.
Soul-sucking. That's a powerful phrase. It just takes all the life out of you.
It really does. One person, the financial crimes analyst, said their job was so repetitive that they could do it entirely on autopilot.
There's our next phrase. On autopilot. I use that all the time. But in this case, it sounds like a bad thing.
It can be. So on autopilot is a really common idiom. It just means you're doing something automatically without any conscious thought, like a plane flying itself.
It's not always bad, right?
Yeah.
Like when I drive home from work, I'm totally on autopilot.
Exactly. It's efficient for familiar tasks. But it becomes a negative thing when you're on autopilot for your entire workday, a job that's supposed to engage your mind.
Right. Okay, can you give me 3 different contexts for it?
Sure. 1, formal. The factory worker felt numb because their repetitive tasks allowed them to function on autopilot for 8 hours a day.
No engagement.
2, casual. After making coffee the same way for 10 years, I can do the whole process on autopilot before my brain even wakes up.
I can relate to that.
And 3, funny. My robot vacuum cleaner seems to run on autopilot until it sees a sock, at which point it has a complete existential crisis.
Okay, let's do a quick role play. I just pulled an all-nighter to finish a report.
How are you feeling?
I got it done, but honestly, I think I wrote the last 2 sections completely on autopilot. I really need to double-check my work because I have no idea what I even wrote.
That's the danger of autopilot. You can miss huge mistakes.
Definitely. So the verbs we use are like run on, switch to, go on. or function on autopilot.
Exactly. And for those career changers, being on autopilot meant they felt less human. They were desperate to feel engaged again.
They wanted to find meaning.
Yes. But even when they made the change, it wasn't easy. The sources talked about huge emotional challenges.
Like the financial fear, obviously.
Oh,
But what else?
A big one was imposter syndrome, feeling like a fraud in their new field. And also, surprisingly, social isolation.
Really?
Yeah, one person who moved from a busy factory job to working from home in tech said he desperately missed the people, the chatter. It left a gaping hole in his life. Reinvention isn't just about skills, it's about your whole life structure.
That's a really good point. And sometimes that reinvention isn't a choice, it's forced on you. Which brings us to the story of the basketball player, Chris Bosh.
Right. His amazing NBA career just ended. Abruptly. He had a medical condition that meant he could never play again.
His entire identity was just gone overnight.
It was a complete void, he said. He had spent his whole life being Chris Bosh, the basketball player. He didn't even know who he was without that.
How did he cope with that?
He had to, in his words, reshuffle the deck. He had to start from scratch, exploring new things, and he eventually found new passions in music and writing and mentoring.
So his story is an extreme example,
Uh-huh.
but the lesson is powerful.
It is. His advice was basically, don't wait. Don't wait for your life to force you to change. Start exploring those other interests now, even in small ways.
That brings it all back around. Reinvention is a long process, not one single moment. It takes years of hard work, but it's built on those small, consistent actions. And, as one person in the sources said,
It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be done.
done is better than perfect. I love that.
All right, let's talk about a common mistake. We unpacked that great formal verb, relinquish, which means to voluntarily give up control.
Right. It's a strong word. But what if I use something simpler? Can I just say, I must give my power to the group leader?
That's a great question because it gets into some really fine details of the language. You can say, give my power, and people will understand you. But give sounds very simple, almost like you're just handing something over. It doesn't capture the feeling of it being a difficult, intentional choice.
It doesn't have to say, wait.
Exactly. To really convey that sense of strategic surrender, that this is a conscious choice for growth, a native speaker would be more likely to say, I must relinquish my power. Or if they were being more casual, they might say, I need to let go of some of this control.
So relinquish really adds that layer of intentionality.
It does. It shows that you understand the significance of the act. It's a perfect word for B1 learners to add to their vocabulary to sound more precise and professional.
Got it. I'll stick with relinquish.
Okay, are you ready? It is time for our pop quiz to see what's stuck.
Let's do it. I am a confident quiz taker. That's my new identity.
I love it. Okay, you and everyone listening, just fill in the blank with one of our 4 key terms: self-fulfilling prophecy, reinforce, on autopilot, or relinquish.
Okay.
Number 1, if you keep telling yourself you're going to be nervous during your presentation, you might create a what?
Ooh, that would be a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Correct, because your belief will make you nervous. Okay, number 2, every time you practice for just 5 minutes, you help to what? Your new identity as a dedicated learner.
You're making it stronger, so you reinforce it.
Excellent. Number 3, the drive to work is so familiar that I can do the whole thing completely. What? And not even remember it.
You are running on autopilot.
Spot on. And last one, number 4. As the leader, she knew she had to.
Whoa.
What? Her need to control every detail and trust her team.
She had to make that choice to relinquish control.
4 for 4. Fantastic job. Hopefully everyone listening got them right too.
That was such a great deep dive. Let's just quickly summarize the 3 biggest lessons from today. Number 1, focus on your identity. Who are you becoming, not just who you were.
Number 2, choose small, consistent actions. Forget trying to change everything at once. Tiny steps build momentum.
And number 3, practice self-grace. Forgive your past self and stop comparing your journey to someone else's highlight reel.
And now for your micro challenge. We want you to use this language right away.
Yes.
Sometime today, either in a note on your phone, in a social media comment, or just saying it out loud, use one of the words we learned. Reinforce, relinquish, autopilot, or self-fulfilling prophecy.
Use it to describe a small change you want to make. Take action now. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the English Unlimited podcast.
Keep learning, keep growing, and remember that real change is a process, not a single event. Be kind to yourself along the way.
I'm Charlie. See you next time.
And I'm Jamie. Bye.